Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video on tourism and hospitality stream of the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. In this video, I will concentrate on the document checklist or the documents required for this particular stream. So if you think that you are eligible for one of these streams or you think that you are interested in this scheme, listen to this video and you will get an idea of what kind of documents is required so that you can prepare those documents well in advance and avoid the last minute rush. So that is the purpose of this video. I'll take you through the individual documents that is required. This is an official version. So I will take you through individually through all the documents required. And then what we will do, we will jump into the further discussion. Okay, so let's go into the checklist first. So this is the document checklist, which is available on the portal. So I will just provide you the link of the checklist on your as a description. So the document checklist, so you should follow this checklist. This is not a very big document, only a 4-page document. So we will go through the documents and understand what is required for those documents. Okay, so along with your online application, whenever you fill up the application on the portal, you need to submit the document as a last step of that step. So most documents are mandatory. There are in this list, I have gone through this list, so I know that none of the documents are optional. So documents are mandatory. There are certain documents which you will gather, and then there are certain documents which your employer should gather. And then there is a very small set of documents which is for your dependents, if your dependents are also on the application. So let's go through the documents. And before that, these are just regular clarifications on document. If your applications is not complete, then your application may be rejected and things like that. If your documents are not in English or French, you will have to submit a translation and the certified translators can be found here. Okay, let's go to documents. So what Aaip has done is given a kind of a blanket instruction that all the documents are for you only, are for the main candidate only. For places where they need documents from your dependents, they have specified that, but otherwise you will need to submit documents for yourself. For example, when they are talking about valid passport, they mean valid passport for yourself. So valid passport, what does valid passport means? Passport which contains the personal information and expiry date. So like for example, in passports, first and last page are usually the page that contain personal information like your picture, your name, date of birth, address, expiry date, and things like that. So make sure your personal information page or pages are included. You don't need to upload the full scan of the full passports or visa stamps or anything like that. You don't need to do that. Okay, so I think passports are very self-explanatory. Work permits. If you are already working in Alberta, and in fact, this particular stream is for people who are already working in Alberta in certain industry for a period of 6 months. So you must already be working in Alberta for a valid work permit. So you need to upload your current Alberta work permit, which will show the conditions of work, the location of work, and things like that. So upload your current Alberta work permit. It must meet the work permit criteria. So if you go through my eligibility video that I created a day before, you will see the eligibility criteria there, and you can see that what are the requirements of a work permit, that it should be valid and things like that. So your current Alberta work permit, and if you have any of your past work permits, you need to upload that. Again, work permit is only for yourself and not your spouse or anybody else. So only for yourself. Lmia. This particular stream, the tourism and hospitality stream, needs a LMIA. So you need to upload all of your LMIA documents, and you need to include the copy of both the confirmation letter and any kind of annexures to the LMIA. So the LMIA is usually a package of various document which is submitted as part of LMIA. So your LMIA should be provided a copy of the LMIA, a soft copy or a scanned copy of LMIA should be provided. So this is one of the stream. In all of the other streams, you may have seen the LMIA condition states that if required. So if LMIA is required, you need to upload it. But in this particular stream, it is required. So you need to upload the LMIA. Okay. Language assessment or the Canadian language benchmark test, IELTS or CELPIP. You need to upload your language assessment test. For this particular stream, you need a CLB of 4 and above. So you need this. So this would be required. So this is required. You must, and if you go to the eligibility page or to my other video where I explained eligibility, there are certain conditions to the CLB document, like it should be less than 2 years old, and it should be issued by either CELPIP or IELTS and things like that. So go to that video. I have covered there the concept of language assessment or CLB. Okay, so this is the end of first page. In the first page, they have covered 4 documents. Okay, let's go to the second page. Second page starts with ECA. If you will have to upload all the diploma, certificate, mark sheets, anything that you have obtained in your secondary and post-secondary education. So if you have a Canadian degree, you upload all the diploma certificates, and if you have a non-Canadian degree, in addition to your degrees, you will have to submit a transcript of the degree. So that is also required. If you have a non-Canadian degree, you need to submit a ECA also, or a education credential assessment, which basically is issued by an institution like WES and things like that. So there are certain organizations whose education credential assessment is required, and this is the list here. You can click here and go to that list and see. So the most popular is WES. So if you have a WES, you need to, okay, let me rephrase that. You need a ECA from WES or any organization if you have a non-Canadian degree. Okay. If you have a trade certificate, upload a copy of that. So the education document is in 2 parts. One is credential document and another is ECA. So for example, you have done your bachelor's from India. So you will have to submit all your mark sheets, all your degrees and certificates of passing that, and an ECA. Okay, so there are 2 documents that you would need to submit. Okay, and if you have a Canadian degree, you just upload your diploma, certificate, mark sheets, and whatever you are getting. So that's a bit of difference. So that is why it says and, because you may need both of them if you are, say, if you are a foreign worker who is working on a work permit, who has done his education outside of Canada. Okay, so that is an important document, and there are links here. You can click and upload, click and see. There are certain conditions in which ECA is not required, but that is what I explained. If you have a Canadian degree, it's not required, but if you want to read through it, go through the eligibility page, web page. Okay, so we covered the 5th document, right? 4 documents on page 1 and 5th document on education assessment. Next comes pay statements. You must include pay statements for last 3 months. This is not 3 pay stubs, but 3 months. So if you are paid, say, bi-weekly, you will have to upload pay stubs you will have to upload 6 pay stubs. It's not three pay stubs, but for 3 months. What is not accepted is any kind of screenshots or PDF documents from an online calculator. These are not accepted. If you have, you can upload a statement of earnings, but that statement should cover the pay period of 3 months. Even if you upload all the statements, the AIP officers or at the time of assessment, they can ask you for more information so that you can verify your full-time work experience in Canada. And the purpose of this is to demonstrate that you're currently employed in Alberta and you're meeting the minimum wage requirement. So this is a very important document, again, only for yourself. If you and your spouse both are working and you are the primary applicant, you need to upload only for yourself. You don't need to upload for both of you. Employment reference letter. Reference letter is more, understand reference letter as an experience letter, as a letter which shows what kind of work you are doing in what position and certain details about your work. This is required to validate your occupation, your NOC, things like that. So for this particular tourism and hospitality stream, you need a 6 months of work experience with your current employer who is part of a tourism and hospitality industry. So with that in mind, you need the reference letter from your current employer, which should state things like this. So these like what, 7 bullet points. These need not, I would say these need not be in same order, but as long as these 7 points are covered in your reference letter, which must be on your company letterhead and signed by a, like it should be on a company letterhead and it should be signed by a manager or supervisor and cover these 7 points, you should be good. So make sure that whatever letter you have preparing or are preparing with working with your employer, it should cover these 7 points. If you have any employment contract or job offer letter, you may also upload that with this. So a reference letter can include, so say first page, like first few pages are your reference letter, and then obviously you have a job offer letter, so you can upload that also. Okay. Last line just speaks about mentioning a job duty. So what most people do, they just copy the NOC description from the NOC website. Don't do that. Put the job description or the job duties that you are actually doing at your current job. That is very important. Okay, so we are at the end of second page. Okay, so now we have covered 4 documents on first page and 3 documents on the second page. So like total we have covered 7 documents, right? I hope you guys are getting the information that you want. Okay, next, last document from you, last but not the least, is the job offer. So as they were mentioning here, in addition to your reference letter, you need to provide a job offer letter. Job offer letter is different from reference letter. Reference letter is basically kind of an experience letter, or your like it's a detailed letter explaining what you are doing and like when and what you're doing. This is different from a job offer letter. Job offer letter is like an appointment letter or an employment contract provided to you before joining the job or for continuation of the current job. Your job offer letter for this particular tourism and hospitality stream, you need a contract for at least 12 months. So you need to submit a job offer letter which is valid for more than at least 12 months, and you can read the more details on the eligibility page here or on my earlier video. So this is your employment contract or your job offer letter. Your job offer letter B should also cover these, like how many points? 7 points. Again, as long as it's on letterhead and is on letterhead and covers these 7 points, you should be good. Again, the order of your these points doesn't matter as long as these points are covered. Okay, so like letterhead, salary, wage, duration, working condition, job duty. So duration of employment is important in the sense that it needs a 12 months. You need the job offer for at least 12 months. Job duties, you and both your employers should sign, and then your employer's contact information if they want to contact any if they want to contact any of your employers for any clarification. So this is the 8 documents that you need to submit for yourself from a applicant point of view. Okay. You need to submit additional documents which you need to procure from your employer. Okay. So there are two documents. Yes. So there are two documents which your employer should provide to you and you should submit with your application. So first is the WCB document. So WCB, as I was explaining earlier, is Workers' Compensation Board. So your employer should provide a clearance letter from the WCB. There are details on what the letter must say or what data must include. That information you can get or your employer can get from this particular link. If your employer is working in tourism and hospitality stream, they know what is WCB, what is a clearance letter. If they still need any kind of help, they can contact these, they can get more information using this link. There are certain conditions of the WCB document that I have covered in the earlier video, so you can check that. But on a broad way, this must include an industry code or an exempt activity. If your employer is exempt, then the letter should say that. In all cases, you need a clearance letter from the Workers' Compensation Board. Okay. If they are in an exempt industry, they must include a special clearance, right, from WCB. If for any reason your employer says that, okay, I'm working in an industry which is exempt from WCB, then they will have to still contact WCB Employer Account Services and get a letter. They have included the contact information for WCB in this particular document. So WCB document, again, this is employer specific document. So in most cases, your employer should facilitate obtaining these documents and providing you a copy. Industry association. In addition to WCB, it is required that your employer is a member of a eligible sector association. So they have to provide a proof of membership, and if they are not a member but they are something called an experience provider, they must provide a printout from the Travel Alberta website. So travelalberta.com website lists a lot of experience provider. So these are certain big employer or the big organizations who are kind of unique, and then they don't have like a sector membership or something like that. So if that is the case, if you're working for an employer who is an experience provider, then go to this particular website and get a printout from that website just to make sure that you can prove that your employer is an experience provider. Otherwise, just provide the membership cards and these details of your sector association membership from your employer. Again, these two documents are from your employer. You will not have them instantly, but you can always contact your employer and get these documents. Great. So 7 documents for yourself. 7, right? No, 8 documents for yourself. 8 documents for yourself. 2 documents from your employer, and the next 2 documents are only required if applicable. So if you have a dependent that you are including in the application, then you should click here, get a document signed, get it filled up by your dependents and upload it. So this should be completed, dated and signed. Click here, you will get a form. Spouse, common law partner, dependents age 18 and over must complete and sign all the sections of the form that are applicable to them. Okay, so only required if you are including dependents in the application, not required for everybody. Second, if you are using a representative, click this form and fill up the document, get it uh, get it uh, get it complete, dated and signed, and submit this particular document. Okay, submitting an application. So say for example, you are using a representative, including a dependent, and uploading all the documents. You will need to submit 8 plus 2 document. 8 documents for yourself, 2 documents for your employer, and 2 documents which are optional. If you are just submitting for yourself, then you still need to apply 10 documents. 8 documents for yourself and 2 documents from your employer. I'm sorry. Make sure that you go to the hospitality stream webpage and get all the information. Complete all the questions on the portal. So this is not an application guide. This is just a checklist. You will have to complete the application online, and at the end of the application, you will have to submit all the documents. So make sure that you do that. Make sure none of the documents are missing, and because that might impact your application. If they need more documents or more clarifications, they will contact you, and make sure that you promptly reply to those emails or those queries. Read all the instructions here, and if you have any questions, you can contact this particular email ID. So I hope this video was useful. As of now, tourism and hospitality stream is kind of on hold. They have completed the first intake of 500 applications, but let's be positive. Use this time to prepare and combine all the documents. Okay, so that as and when the application starts, you are ready with all your documents and you can quickly submit everything. Okay, so I hope you guys have a very good weekend, a very good week, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.